A Sweetwater County EMT injured in the line of duty is hailed as a hometown hero at Cheyenne Frontier Days. Representative Harriet Hageman has a few choice words for the nation's Secretary of Homeland Security, and an iconic ranch overlooking the Tetons is up for sale. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily. Emergency medical technician Tiffany Grutzmacher was critically injured while responding to a crash on Interstate 80 last December during one of the worst storms of the year. On Thursday afternoon, the Rawlins first responder was honored at Cheyenne Frontier Days as part of its Hometown Heroes campaign, along with her partner Tyler Harris, who was killed when a semi-trailer plowed into their ambulance while they were helping victims of the crash. The crowd of more than 10,000 people at Cheyenne Frontier Days Arena gave Harris and Grutzmacher a standing ovation for their service and sacrifice.
Today, we would like to honor not only Tyler Harris's memory, but his courageous partner, Tiffany Grutzmacher, who is with us here today in the Cheyenne Frontier Days. Ladies and gentlemen, together, let's salute a true, selfless American hero.
U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman pulled no punches in blasting one of the most prominent cabinet members of President Joe Biden's administration as a liar and tyrant during a House Judiciary Committee meeting. Cowboy State Daily political reporter Leo Wolfson said Hageman and her fellow Republicans didn't believe Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas when he told the committee that the Biden administration has a good handle on the border and immigration situation.
Republicans on the committee certainly were not looking to hear that, including Hageman, and they think that the situation is basically a total disaster. And she said that, quote unquote, "You are the walking, talking epitome of the very tyrant that our founding fathers recognized would gravitate towards government service."
Mayorkas claims unlawful entries between ports of entry along the southwest border have decreased. A Jackson man has pleaded guilty to child sex abuse, child exploitation, and voyeurism for molesting a 13-year-old girl and for secretly recording video of women as they went to the bathroom at a local bar. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland said the voyeurism charges stem from last year when police investigated him for filming women going to the bathroom at the Cowboy Bar in Jackson.
There were videos found on Guerra's phone of females' private parts visiting the toilet, and in one of the videos, the lens panned to Guerra's face at the very end of it.
The 13-year-old girl in the case said Guerra molested her over 100 times and beat her if she did not comply. Deep in the wilderness of the Bighorn National Forest are massive piles of carefully stacked rocks. Dubbed by some as Wyoming's Stonehenge, the giant cairns have generated a debate as to whether or not the man-made landmarks should even exist. Cowboy State Daily's John Thompson said he spoke with a representative for the National Forest who told him there are specific regulations against the construction of cairns.
Their concern is that cairns historically have been used to mark trails and mark significant overlooks and different things like that. And if people are building them randomly, it could be confusing, cause people to get lost.
Forest officials say prospective cairn constructors can ask for and receive permission to build, but they must adhere to the National Forest rules. And there's a picture window in the main lodge at Lost Creek Ranch in northwest Wyoming that frames an iconic view of the Tetons. That view is for sale for the first time in 50 years for a mere $39.5 million. That's according to Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean.
One of the things that makes this ranch so special, Wendy, the view of the Tetons, it's completely unobstructed. It's protected by conservation easements. So it's never going to change unless the mountains themselves change. The idea that such a view is for sale, I mean, for the first time in 50 years, it's like a Kodak moment. It's priceless.
The Lost Creek Ranch was first opened to the public as a guest ranch in 1927. And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, Wyoming's largest and most read news source. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.